Hello student. So let's start with the subsequent topic of your cloning and selection. We have already done with the two different parts, that is part 1 and part 2, where we have talked about what is cloning, why we need to perform cloning and how we can perform cloning. Now in this part 3 we are going to talk about how I can improve my cloning, what all the method to be used and what all the different ways in which I can enhance my cloning technique, right? Also we are going to talk about the cloning that we have talked in our part 2, that how we can perform with the help of a monolayer culture. In this part we are going to talk about how I can perform with the suspension culture. So these are the two different aspects I'll be talking about. The first aspect will be how I can enhance the efficiency of cloning. The second aspect will be how I can perform suspension cloning. Okay, so let's start. I'll try to give a quick recap about what we have done in our last video lecture. I hope you people remember we have talked about plating efficiency. Yes, what is plating efficiency? Yes, plating efficiency is we need to know how much cell count will be given rise by a single cell. So that is what a plating efficiency. That is the efficiency of a single cell to give rise a more number of cell. Fine. So that we have studied in our last lecture. So that is totally depend upon high density culture and a low density culture. Their physiological conditions defines that how much they are going to support each other. So high density culture, what happens in high density culture? Obviously they are densely populated, so they support each other by providing growth factor as they secrete all this, by providing a signal that is more diffusible. So likewise they can support their growth, right? But this case is not feasible at all in a low density culture. Why? Because they are distantly placed. One will be separated from the other with a great difference. So this great difference will obviously act as a disadvantage between the cell to diffuse anything and provide any nutrient that is lacking in a other. So this is what we studied, that physiological condition defines their rate. So in high density we can see the growth will be faster, the low density the growth won't be that faster. But for a plating efficiency to perform, we need to have a less density so that I can scrutinize that how much efficient that one cell is. But at the same time, I can see that low density doesn't support to the greater rate of our population growth. So I need to have both the condition in my hand. So what I can do is, for that I need to design a technique in such a way that low density cell population should be maintained, and along with that the environment should favor all the conditions which are there in high density. This is what we studied in our last lecture. So that can be done with the different techniques called capillary technique, micro drop techniques, and your dilution technique. These are the three different techniques that we studied last lecture, right? So here now we are going to talk about how I can more efficiently perform my plating efficiency. As in I know that these are the different techniques which will help for a plating efficiency to be calculated, but this technique do involve other factors too. So I need to improve those factors to enhance my efficiency about those techniques, to give my plating efficiency very much improved form. Fine. So those technique that I have to concern with, that are this different factors that I need to maintain during my culture environment where I am performing a cloning, right? So very first factor is medium. Yes, of course, medium will be the very first factor. Why? Because as we all know, all the animal cell cultures are being grown in a medium only, which act as a substratum, which act as a medium to communicate between the cell, which act as a nutrient provider, right? So what we need to do is we need to perform a particular experiment in which I can add up a constituent or a different ingredient to make it a rich medium. So finally or eventually I'll be working to get a medium which will be having all the requirement, all the nutrient requirement which can fulfill the demand of my clonal growth and eventually affect my plating efficiency. Other way I can do is I can optimize the medium. Suppose I have a fibroblast cells or I have a myeloma cells, right? These are the different cell type I'll be having. So what I can do is I'll be providing a different nutrient content, right, to this different cells, so that the one which is giving me the most best growth with that particular list of ingredient, so I can confirm that that particular growth ingredient is suitable for my myeloma or say for the fibroblast cells. So likewise I can optimize my medium. Fine. Find this first topic. Now we'll talk about a serum, right? The way we are having a medium which are providing all the constituent required for a clonal growth to happen, in the same manner we are adding other factors to that is serum which will help for a growth to occur. So more preferred one is fetal bovine compared to the calf and horse serum, right? And here again the way I have optimized the medium, I can perform a batch selection. What I can do in a batch selection, I can perform a batch of different serums which will support the growth of my organism or a cell of particular type to be used. So accordingly that batch I can consider as a best for that particular type of a cell. So I can scrutinize the serum that I need to add. Next, hormone is equally important, right? The way we do have a different hormone molecule which are signaling inside our body, in the same manner we do need to add those hormone inside our animal cell culture medium to perform best and to interact, so that a metabolic activity to be in a perfect way. So what all hormone found to be effective, that is insulin, sorry, that is insulin. So insulin need to be added into the concentration of 1 into 10 raised to minus 10 international unit per ml. This concentration matters a lot. We need to have a check through. It should not be greater or lesser than that to have a perfect enhancement of your plating efficiency. So concentration should be observed properly. And the other hormone that I can add is dexamethasone, which has a concentration of 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 5 molar, or else I can add a 10 mg per ml, right? Next is your intermediary metabolite. Yes, what do you understand by intermediary metabolite? Of course, we need to add them all too, because they are the one which are going to handle our metabolic pathway, right? I hope you people know what all metabolic pathway. The metabolic pathway are the one which is supporting our cells to come up with the nutrient that they actually need with the energy provision, right? So this can be done with the intermediary metabolite which completes your pathway. So those metabolite that we can add is that through oxo acid. This oxo acid is what, these are pyruvate, alpha ketoglutarate. These are the intermediate that are ultimately required for citric acid to cycle. Yes, eventually you need to add up a ATP into your energy mechanism. So you need to have this intermediary metabolite. You also need to have a nucleosides. Yes, what are nucleosides? These are the actual subunits required for your RNA and DNA to be made of, with the help of which a genetic information is gained, replication is done, and cell can divide. So this is also one of the most required molecule. The next is carbon dioxide. Yes, the way we required a gas exchange CO2 for, in the same manner we need to provide a carbon dioxide for animal cell growth purpose as well, right? Here it is having a same role as we human being do, but here it is more specifically working to adjust or acting as a buffering mechanism to maintain a pH, right, within a medium itself. So CO2 is seen to have a major impact for a clonal growth. The concentration that is been used is it is in the form of percent, that is 5% CO2 should be there. It is usually used 5%. In some of the cell has a requirement of a 2%, and the myeloma cells that are a hybrid varieties, they have a 10% requirement of CO2 to be there for their environmental conditions, right? Next, we should know that is treatment of substrate. Yes, what is treatment of substrate? Yes, here substrate we are using, that is Petri dish, right? That Petri is a sort of a dish which is circular by nature, transparent, in which I can add a medium and a cell, right? So this substrate, that is this surface, need to be treated in a such a way that a cell should be allowed to get settled there and they can grow very smoothly. So they need, as we are talking about adherent cell, so this adherent cell need to have a certain firm attachment to a particular surface so that they can grow and divide, right? So that can be provided by providing a treatment to the substrate which will help a cell for adherence, right? So such substance are your polylysine. This will added to the surface which will help a growth and development of our cell, right? So this is being added as a pre-treatment before adding a medium, polylysine. So this pre-treatment is done with the help of polylysine. Entirely polylysine is filled into the petri dish or a flask, and then unbound is washed or removed, and the remaining part of polylysine will act as a substrate, right? So we can wash and remove and use it, or if we can store it for the future use. Next is we can add up a fibronectin into a medium itself. Rather pre-treatment, we can add up directly into the medium with the concentration of 5 mg per ml. Fine. And lastly, we can also add a trypsin. Yes, trypsin, we do know that it is used to break down a cell into a single cell, right? So this is also being found to be very effective to enhance our plating efficiency. So more preferred one is your purified trypsin compared to the your crude trypsin, or else now we do have a improved variety, that is a recombinant trypsin. It has a commercial name as trypsin. Fine. So this trypsin also considered to be one of the factor that can enhance your plating efficiency. Fine. So these are the conditions that we should take care of to enhance our plating efficiency. One more condition along with this is, which is of great importance, that is your conditioned medium. Okay, what is conditioned medium is the way I have added different requirement here, right? These are the requirement that are being added artificially, or you can say synthetically, from the outside environment, so that I can have a clonal growth in an improved form. This is the conditioned medium which is being provided by a conditioning cells. These conditioning cells are pre-cultured cell in a flask in which cloning has to be carried out. What is done is the medium that we are going to use for cloning, that is conditioned with a conditioning medium. What this conditioning cell will do, they will, during their growth and propagation, they will withdraw certain or secrete out certain metric, certain constituent, certain metabolites into the medium itself, right? Then the cells has added all the condition. Then what we can do is we can utilize specifically only the medium for the cloning purpose, which is very much enriched in all the environment condition that is required for the cloning to happen effectively. So this is the conditioning cell that are being used. So what is done next is to avoid contamination that is being carried by the cells within a medium itself. What we will be doing is we will be performing a certain techniques, or you can say a purification part, where we are trying to remove all the cells which are of same, which are of pre-cultured used for the conditioning one, right? So contamination can be removed with the help of filtration, with the help of thawing, with the help of uh, purification that is done with the help of centrifugation. So these are the different techniques, centrifugation, filtration, and all this I can use to remove the contamination, as in any carrying cell from the conditioning cell into the cloning part, right? So for performing a preparation of conditioned media, I need to use a conditioning cell, right? So this conditioning cell can be, or you can say either it can be of a same cell type in which I'm going to use a cloning cell, as in conditioning cell will be same as our cloning cell, or it can be a different cell. So same cell using will not be a great chance of adding contamination. At least it is less important in terms of contamination, right? But if when I'm going to conduct the experiment of the conditioning cell which are varying from the clonal cell, it can be of great important problem, right? This because they both are different, and it can cause the problem of contamination, that is hike towards our plating efficiency to be get reduced, right? So what, before going with the clonal propagation, what we need to do is, for conditioned medium I need to perform a identity check, right? Once I done with the cloning, I need to perform that whether that particular clone cell is from my conditioned cell, or else it is a growth of my cell of interest. Fine, understood? This is what we are going to use a conditioned medium. Finally, the way we can use a conditioned medium, we have other way too, that is rather using a medium, I can use the cell itself to act as a feeder. So that topic is your feeder layer, right? So what we are going to do, see, now you can tell like that this feeder can act as a contamination. There may be a doubt for you all, right? But actually what we are doing over here is we are going to arrest their growth, so that they can't grow further to add up as a contamination. So let's see what we can do as a feeder layer, and then we'll talk about what all the chances can happen to disturb my feeder layer or to act as a contamination. So let's start. You do have a feeder layer that is being irradiated. So what basically I am doing is I am going to arrest the growth with the help of certain race technique, or else with the help of mitomycin C. So once it is done, what will happen? Yes, your feeder layer which is grown up. Now that feeder layer will be caught by a irradiation to stop their growth. So thus we have arrested their growth. Fine. So now if they are allowed to grow further, right? If they are allowed to grow further after trypsinization, I'll try to seed them into a new fresh medium. Now what will happen? As we have already irradiated them, or else I have performed either of the different technique of mitomycin. So what will happen? They will try to grow, but their growth is not that efficient as and when they were normal before, right? So their growth will be held to a subconfluent monolayer. What do you mean by subconfluent? Let me tell you first about confluency. Confluency means the cell which are very much normal, they will try to grow and develop till they contact each other as well as the petri dish or to themselves. So what will happen once they attain that stage? there won't be no further growth in terms of normal cells, right? So it will be getting adhered, stop growth further that confluency. Fine. So here is a subconfluency, as in it is not completely grown. They are grown to certain level that there is a gap in between. There is no contact. So it is a subconfluence monolayer, and this gap will help our suspension culture to get seeded with the medium that we are going to add further, right? And at the same time, this medium is rich in a feeder part which is adding up a more nutrient. Yes, can you see that there is a gap in between? So these cells can now feed the cells which we are going to seed now as a cloning cell, right? So I will add or seed the cloning cell now, and further incubation will be done. So what you can see is your cloning cell can grow very easily, but the cell that is below it, yes, this cell which have not reached the confluency, they have degenerated, but they have during their growth they have enriched the medium for the support of your feeder, for the support of your cloning cell. Yes, understood what is the feeder layer. Now we'll talk about other facts about feeder layer. That is, feeder layers do have a viability. They can be viable for 2 to 4 weeks, right? Or you can say 1 to 3 weeks more, followed one, right? This 1 to 3 week will be there for their viability to be happened, right? Otherwise, after that, they will end up and they will die off, right? And during isolation, we won't found such cell, feeder cell there, right? Into our isolated clonal propagation, right? So other part I can go for, that is homologous cell or a heterologous cell. Homologous cell, as in the cell which will be more familiar with my cloning cell, will be definitely not going to add up into my contamination. But what is seen is, if you have a heterologous cell, this heterologous cell will be a great advantage, right? Because they are going to add up into a new nutrient that is not being found for a cloning cell. So heterologous is found to be more advantageous over a homologous cell. And one more important thing is what we can rule out the heterologous contamination by a chromosomal analysis. Once I perform the chromosomal analysis, I'll come to know that this cell has a different chromosome and my cloning cell has a different chromosome. So this analysis will definitely sort out that there is a there is a contamination happen or there is a no contamination, right? Other fact is, if I can perform a cloning with the early passaged feeder layer, so what will happen, this early passage will definitely release more amount of a nutrient or a growth factor with into the medium, right? And they have not utilized up it for themselves, right? So comparatively to the established one which has used up all the nutrient that it has secrete, I should go for the early passaged one, right? Understood? Next, I should perform a screening test, right? What screening should be done? Because there may be a chance that feeder layer is growing very fastly and utilizing all your nutrient. So, once you have done with the cloning, there should be cleaning, screening should be done, that whether it is a feeder layer or a cloning cell that you are actually looking for. Yes, next fact that we should go for is, we need to conduct a sensitivity check, that is a trial, because we never know that feeder layer where we have irradiated them or we have added a mitomycin, how much sensitive they are. If they are resistive to such treatment, then what will happen? obviously they will grow not as a feeder layer but as your actual cell life, right? So we must go for the sensitivity, that how much they are sensitive for a treatment that we are giving to act as a feeder layer, right? So there should be one trial conduct, one attempt should be made before going for a cloning with that feeder layer. Yes. Also, we need to have one control plates aside in which we are not adding any of the cloning cell, that there will be only a single layer or a lone feeder layer, so that I can compare the growth of my cloning cell with that control plate which is acting to grow as a feeder layer. Fine. So this fact should be considered during feeder layer use. Okay, fine. We have completed the part that we talked about the adherent cell, how I can improve the plating efficiency, what all factor to be considered, right? So let's start with the suspension culture. In suspension culture, what you are looking for? You are looking for a cells to be in a suspended form rather a adherent form. Fine. So what will happen here? Let's see how I can perform a suspension culture. So what you need to do is you need to perform the suspension culture with the agar, which is a gelling substance, right? So that gelling substance will have that cells which are being under cloning procedure to be in a suspended form, right? So what you will be doing is you'll be adding your medium with the agar, right? So what you have done, you have added your medium in this bottle along with the agar. So medium that you have added, that is for providing a nutrient, agar is for gelling agent. So you have underlay it and allow it to solidify. Underlay, see, underlay, right? So this plate is ready for your seeding purpose, right? Other side, what we have to do, which all suspended culture we are going to prepare, for that we need to have a agar constituent which will be overlay, right? Here this is the underlay, this will be overlay. So for that also, in which our cell will remain in a suspended form, right? Let me tell you, this treatment of underlay is done for not to treat a plate for a substrate treatment. Yes, what we have done, we have done a polylysine in our adherent culture to allow your cell to attach. So likewise we need to have certain adherent, although the cells are not being in adherent form, but they still required settlement after their cloning is done. So for that we need to have a substance that will hold it in future. Fine. So what we are going to do, we are not going to treat the plate at all. We'll be underlaying with the agar and medium. And likewise here also you have prepared with the medium and agar, in which suspended form will be cell allowed to move. Right. So this is also ready. Your underlay is also ready. Here what is done is, before you start seeding your cell, you need to have a certain amount in your hand. So for that you are preparing it there. Yes, you are prepared to grow up a cell. When the cells are grown up, they will be added serially. Dilution is performed in such a way that less population of a cell will be there in your hand, and that will be mixed with the overlay agar and allowed to grow. So likewise, the suspended in suspension, your cell will grow. Fine. So lastly, I'll let you know about a suspension which is carried out, suspension cloning which is carried out, methocell. Methocell is a sort of a thickener. It is being used for coating, gelling, for viscosity. Here specifically we are using for a viscous purpose, right? So because of its viscous nature, the way we have used agar, here we will be using a methocell, right? Methocell is basically a methyl cellulose, a chemical term which is present in it, right? This is methyl cellulose. Cellulose is a polymer. I hope you people know what is polymer, right? Then what do you have is, you do have a 2x medium and methocell. The way you have added agar in a medium, likewise you will be adding a methocell with the medium, and that is ready for culture. And here you are subculturing the content. When subculturing, sorry, not subculturing, you are diluting serially, sorry, not culturing, you are diluting it serially, so that you can reduce the cell population and cell count, right, for a cloning to happen. But you will be collecting the content from each one of them and plating them into a different plates, right, where you have already used a methocell. Here you can see again a underlay, you can see the underlay, agarose underlay. Here in the place of agar, I'll be using agarose, right? The agarose is different from agar. Agar is more solidified in its lower temperature, and but here agarose is considered to be um, at low temperature to be less solidified. So it will be acting as a some sort of a gelling, but it will, as we are using a underlay agar, it will be some sort of solid only, because we don't required to mix them both. Fine. So underlay is agarose is there, and methocell is overlaid with the help of cell suspension, right? So here you can see the amount of a cell is being reduced and cloning is done, right? Why we are specifically using a methocell? Because in this viscous we can easily observe that cell is being derived from the single cell. They won't get detached easily, right? So there won't be any misguidance or miscrutinization between how it is being developed from one cell or it is being developed by other cell. Like so, here we end up with the part 3, where we have learned about how plating efficiency will help to improve our cloning, right? And how I can perform a suspension culture, right? I hope you people have understood it now. Okay, thank you.